very witty, clever. He is one of the things that attracted me to him in the first place was obviously his intellect, but beyond that, it was his sense of humor.
I would describe Bill as very unusual.
How so?
He is just a unique person. First of all, his sense of humor stands out.
Yeah, it was kind of a disarming sense of humor. Here's a guy from Mayo, Florida. Probably he would talk about, you know, being the man from Mayo and a little town had a traffic light or maybe a blinking yellow light. So it kind of disarmed people. Say, here's this nice guy from a little town, but behind that was this vice-like mind that he could look at a situation, kind of take it apart, put it back together, and know what the answer was.
Well, I'm a very lucky person to start with. Had a chance to grow up in a small town where I had lots of supervision. I think my dad had a major impact, probably the greatest impact on my life. He was a country druggist, and I loved to hang around the drugstore. And he was a great storyteller, and so I was all ears, and I would soak that stuff up, and I couldn't wait to get for school to get out so I could get downtown and find out what was going on.
You know, I met Bill Birchfield a long time ago. We served together in the state legislature. He became a good friend, helped me a great deal, even taught me some of his secrets to passing legislation in the Florida House. The real secret, he said, is when you got the votes, sit down, shut up.
I guess if people would describe me as unconventional, and that's a description I think I could probably wear without makeup. I rarely regretted having said too little.
Good man.
Well, I think if you were to use one word to describe Bill Birchfield, it would probably be leadership. He came back to Jacksonville, was chairman of the Transportation Authority, chairman of the Port Authority. He's been involved in just about every major decision that our city's gone through. In fact, he was one of a handful of individuals back in the late 60s that helped guide our city through consolidation.
I guess I'm most proud of consolidation. I had an acquaintance at the University of Florida who was in the legislature when I got here, and he named me as one of his 5 people to the Local Government Study Commission. And so here I was with a year and a half wealth of experience in Duval County and Jacksonville, but been asked to plan his future. And that was exciting to me to see the transformation that occurred as a result of consolidation. And so I think that effort was probably the most rewarding.
Anything that he got involved in, whether it was charitable, whether it was civic, whether it was political, he didn't just sit on the board, he didn't just go along, he was a leader and really impacted things for the better.
Mayor Chancellor called me up and says, saddle up, I want you to go into the Jacksonville Transportation Authority. And the first meeting I went to, they voted on whether to build a bridge concrete or steel. And I got interested in the bridge, and I wasn't really sure it made a lot of sense, but the more involved I got, I became convinced it was a long-term necessity. And I did not realize how controversial it was at the time, but the more controversial it became, the more persistent I became. I felt kind of like that fellow in the Bible that woke up with the wrong wife and had to go live with another for 7 years to get the one he wanted. It took 14 years from the day I voted in 1975 before I went to the dedication.
The Dames Point Bridge was hotly contested, but they found a way to make it work. And if we did not have that bridge, if we didn't have the port in the way that it looks now, if we didn't have JEA, all those things that single-handedly, he didn't do it all, but together with his colleagues, they found ways to get it done.
Politics is simply all compromise. There's no absolute right or wrong. And Bill understands that better than perhaps any person I've ever known in political world.
He just exemplifies what leadership Jacksonville is all about. When you say leadership Jacksonville, you think of Bill Birchfield. And been a great friend of mine, and I know we all thank him for his service.
I've not thought about living to inspire others. I've just thought about living, and if it rubs off and good, that's good, and if it rubs off and it's bad, I'll apologize.